What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mark for Audio 46, and today I am taking a look at the brand new Moon Rover from Campfire Audio. There's only 888 of these available, and they're available at Audio 46. Just want to remind you to like and subscribe on the video if you like these. And if you don't, let me know in the comments below anyway. I won't get my feelings hurt, it's okay. So I'm really excited to talk about these new IEMs from Campfire. These are unlike anything I've ever heard before from Campfire, and it's really interesting to see what they're going for. Campfire has always been a brand that's pretty dedicated to serving audiophiles, listeners, music enjoyers, and I was kind of surprised by their sound signature for these because it's kind of like a Campfire in some ways, but kind of not. The Moon Rover from Campfire is packed with goodies, so I just wanted to let you see them in the unboxing. First, I'm going to just show off the leather carrying case that they come in. It's a really nice gray color, which I liked a lot. Sometimes they have more vibrant colors, but this is a lot more neutral. Next, we have this nice little cloth mesh carrying pouch. And they're divided up so that if you pull the MMCX connections apart, you're going to be able to store each of them in a separate container, meaning that the nice finish on there isn't going to get scratched. I'll let you take a look at the 3.5 millimeter braided cable that they come with. There's some nice rubber ends on those for your ears. We get a bunch of goodies in here. First off, you're gonna get a cleaning tool for your IEMs to keep them clean, and a nice little Campfire pin that they just threw in there for you. These are the rubber tips that they come with, and also the marshmallow foam tips. So if you prefer the foam tips, you're not gonna have to upgrade when you get these. There's a cleaning cloth in there for you with Campfire branding on there. And the information is in the box. No added paper. These are going to incorporate a 12 millimeter planar driver, and that's something that's kind of new for Campfire. They're known for their BA and dynamic drivers in their IEMs. These are gonna have a braided 3.5 termination with MMCX connection. These are going to be made with burnt titanium casings, and it gives it a really distinct look. Just talking to some of my coworkers that have been using this IEM, some people like them, some people really dislike them, some people think that they looked better in the photos. I happen to love them, so no matter what, this is going to create a strong visceral reaction, and if you're a fan of things that stand out, this is definitely going to catch some attention. Next, talking about the fit and feel. These feel pretty comfortable in my ears. The drivers are a little big in here, and they feel bigger than the other Campfires that I tried. The actual way that the IEM sits in my ear is pretty nice, but I could also see people with smaller ears finding these a little uncomfortable just because of how bulky they are. That being said, the cable is really nice. They kind of remind me of the Sennheiser IE series cables, the 600 and the 900 cables, because of the way that they wrap around, but they're way more comfortable than that. They feel more high quality. I just wanted to mention Sennheiser a little bit. I know this is a Campfire review, but if you're a fan of the lineage of headphones that is like HD 600 based, stuff like the Audi Z LCD-X, the LCD-5, the Sennheiser HD 800, things of that nature, you're really gonna like these. The first thing that I thought when I heard these IEMs was that this is like an LCD-X in an IEM package. So generally, you're gonna expect a really flat response from these that has just a touch more bass, and it has some doctoring in the mids. this definitely has a wide soundstage for IEMs. I got the dynamic nuances of things that were far away and the tonality shift as they moved further. I got the verticality, which is really nice because these have some big drivers, so you're able to get that shift, the rise from up and down as it's being recorded. And there's a nice tallness to sound, so if you're listening with Dolby Atmos or if you're mixing, you're really going to be able to get that staging. I didn't get any bleed through from driver to driver, so they're very true in their stereo image. Right off the bat, I was super surprised with how flat these are. Other Campfire IEMs have been really geared toward the audiophile, the listener, where they have some very impressive qualities, especially in their bass. All Campfire products to me have always tended to lean a little warmer, with certain things like the Bonneville being very warm to me. So that booming bass that gets in there is not so present on here. I was kind of surprised to listen to these and immediately think to myself like, whoa, you can mix a track on these IEMs, no problem. The recreation of sounds is very distinct. Like, it's super flat. So as soon as you listen to it, nothing's really poking out all that much. You do hear certain bumps and certain frequency spots, but it's not really dramatic. Everything is very subtle rather than trying to focus on a specific frequency that you're trying to bring out, which happens on some other IEMs, especially like in the Campfire line, like the Bonneville. I do still want to talk about the sound signature because although it's a really flat IEM, there are some changes made. The first thing that I noted when I was listening to these is a slight bump in sub bass and high bass frequencies. Overall, the bass is pretty flat. You're not getting the huge thudding sound that you would get from some other Campfire IEMs, and it's definitely not trying to supplement bass. It doesn't sound artificial at all. There's also a mid boost. You get a super punchy low end from that. You get all the attack from bass instruments, and for that frequency range, it's kind of the upper harmonic of the instrument. So if you're thinking of a bass guitar or a bass synth, the upper harmonics start working their way in around 1,000 because of how much volume is in the lower frequencies. That punchiness definitely comes through and it just hits really hard, which is nice because it's so neutral that having that little bit of touch of just added, I don't want to call it aggression, but there's just like a strong force that the bass hits with that's similar to other Campfires, but it's not as far as those go. You get some pretty good bass extension out of these, and that's exactly why I thought to myself, you could mix with IEMs like this. You'd be able to hear the low frequencies well enough, and you'd be able to get a good presentation of the mids and the highs with these. The fact that you're able to palpably hear the sub bass a little higher than the other parts, but it still remains pretty flat, tells me that you could probably get enough of a bass sound to really be able to mix with these if you felt comfortable with that. That being said, there is a touch of added warmth. The mids on these are going to be super flat. There are certain bumps that I do hear in the frequency range. So they have avoided a big shelf coming into the low mids from the bass. You're just getting a little touch here and there. So the 300 to 400 hertz frequency range does sound like it has a little bit of a boost that's naturally extending from the bass. And it doesn't sound like there's this awkward shelf to where voices or guitars drop off in a certain range. The way that I got the most out of this low mid bump was by listening to some classic 90s Florida death metal and hearing those tones where the mids are super scooped. So I got a lot of the low mid character that is kind of synonymous with those bands' tones, and they're using gear like the Crate 130C, the Ampeg VH140. Those are already super scooped sounding amps, and then when you take it even further down, you get a lot of that gritty gurgliness from the guitars. So when I was listening to Morbid Angel's Covenant. I just got a lot of like that punchiness and the grit from the scooped guitars. It's not necessarily pleasant to me, but these IEMs really captured that, and they gave it like a very clear, focused quality despite it being super out of focus in some ways. I think that's where a lot of the punch comes from in lower tones, but there's also a nice just crack that certain things have. There's a nice punchiness to the mid focus that I liked a lot. Things come out with even volume, and it's not like I'm getting way more bass or way more treble or way more mids. It's just kind of all even, all in one plane. Moving out of the highs, there's not much that I want to say about this, because it really doesn't sound like there was much going on in their tuning of the highs. Everything is super flat, and I'm missing a little bit of airiness. I think Campfire could have done a little bit of a better job in attenuating certain frequencies. It sounds like they reduce certain things that might be harsh to listeners, but at the same time, they didn't bump much up. There's not much boosting going on in the highs. So my ears just kind of miss the airiness and the glassiness that you can get. At the same time, these are very, very flat IEMs. So boosting the highs too much would take away from that character, but I still did want a little bit of definition and a little more shape to the sounds. There's only 888 of these available worldwide. We're going to start shipping them on June 4th, so they're available on pre-order at Audio 46. These come in at $1,200, so definitely not budget IEMs. They're going to be a little more high-end. Guys, be sure to hop on these quick, because once they sell out, I am pretty sure they're going to sell out. I could definitely envision this being a new kind of studio secret, where I know a lot of people like the LCD-X and the LCD-5 for studio use, for monitoring use. So having that in an IEM package and making them way more portable, a lot more durable because you don't have the open back, and just a little more sensitive means that a lot of people who are working as professionals may want to take a look at these. Again, guys, I'm Mark for Audio 46. These are the Campfire Moon Rovers, and get them at audio46.com. Have a good one.